I am excited to be with you guys. I feel like I miss you all. I was in Cabo and Salt Lake City, then took a little time with my family in Puerto Rico. Uh, and I just pages of notes that I just want to share with you guys. And if you went to Cabo, by the way, I'm probably going to pick on you too, because I'd love to hear what you learned from the agent attraction stage. Uh, Victor, I see you there. Get your thoughts ready because I'm going to ask you for a couple of thoughts there too. Everybody else who was there. Um, Man, it's 28th. Have you got your first, third, fourth, fifth? How many people have you brought in this month? Now, if that number is a zero, you got plenty of time. You got 3 full days. It doesn't take 3 days to with somebody and bring them through. Some people you've got right now, you've been talking so long, you just got to get them to the finish line. Like some of you guys are connecting that you just need to close. Some of you guys haven't connected enough and you just need to work on some fundamentals. We're going to work on some fundamentals right now. But this month ain't over. I've got 3 left and I'm planning on bringing 3 more people into the organization, people that have been interested, people that I've talked to, that I've had coffees with. And I'm going to ask them, hey, just out of curiosity, how's your first 90 days gone? And that's a conversation that you should every single agent on your list. If you've got a list, which by the way, that's fundamental. If you're on this call, I got a list, and that list is on your refrigerator because you know that that list means freedom. Everybody's got to have a list. And if you don't have a list, start jotting the list right now. And it needs to be some that, and you recognize that that's freedom. For me, I've spent a lot of time making money, buying buildings, buying houses, stuff like that. I got I got a project going on tomorrow. Do a renovation because somebody destroyed a property, and rev share is almost a 98% profitability with no toilet. Like, why wouldn't you? Maybe it's because you don't understand the math. So I'm just going to go over some math. 4%, you recruit one person a month the next 10 months, and they were just they were real deals a year, and they were cappers, which is a low standard. You'd make 40 grand a month for introducing somebody. If those 10 people, bro, how much you guys make on the second line? Somebody give it out. Somebody give me how much you make on a second level recruit. Anybody know? Come on, somebody's got to know if your agent's dry. Come on, off the mic, let me know.
Over 2 grand.
Over two
35?
grand,
Isn't it 3,200?
3,200. You don't even sound sure.
Yeah, you said 2,000. I think that's a little too low. This one was
Vince, you got to pull that
4%.
up. Pull up the chart. Go through this.
Oh,
Let me just skip ahead of here for you guys. I'm going to put it up on the screen for you guys. You bring in 10 people, first line's $4,000 with the new agent bonus that they're giving, right? So if you bring somebody in, you're going to make $4,000 for every agent that you bring, just for company. They bring in one person. Let's say that number is $2,000. That's 2 grand. That's 2 grand each. And your second line. But here's where it gets. I'll do this you're doing, and you decide I'm just going to bring in 10 people and help them bring in 10 people. You got 100 people on your second line, making $250,000 a year. That's it. It's 10 by 10. I want to show you how fast you guys can change your life. It allowed me to retire my wife from like one of the most miserable professions in the planet. She was a divorce attorney. The worst profession. No matter how good you are, you're arguing for a living, right? Number. I want you guys all jot this ideology down. It's one. I know you were going to do algebra this morning, but we're going to do some algebra. 1 plus x. In fact, it actually kind of looks like a cool little logo. 1 plus x. Put a little square rectangle around and consider that your ideology. We got 3 days left. If you haven't hit your goal yet, you got 3 days left to bring one person in, help some people in your organization bring some people in. Imagine if your whole organization had that mentality. Hey, I'm going to bring somebody in. I'm going to help somebody in my organization bring somebody in. How you become exponential. You do things like, I just workout, and rather than look at workout music, listen to agent attractors and what they're doing. I pull up John Mikish. I haven't talked to him in a while, and I saw a video about how he brought in the thousands. I lit up my chat GPT and I was like, you know, favor and go through and pull down Jake top five and another agent attractors. Give me things. You know what? Going speed, we're all kind of saying the same thing. So let's just make this super simple. Everybody, if you don't have your list, that's got to be happening. That's got to be in the next 3 days. You got 3 days to get a list. And I'm talking a good list of agents you'd be proud of. And you got to get that list up to 100 at some point. Some of you guys are like, I don't even know 100 people. I got going over the next 90 days. What do you think the second almost everybody had on their list? Somebody shouted out. If make the list was the first thing everybody had on their freedom process, what was the second?
Call the list.
It's it goes along with that. Some people said, some people I thought were a little bit timid, they just texted them or process at some point. You got to invite them somewhere, which was Jake's thing. You got to somewhere. You got to call and go there. They're all connecting. They're all trying to connect that list together, right? How powerful if you just sat eyeball to eyeball with agents over the next 3 days? What could go wrong? You meet 10 people, you do some quality networking, some masterminding with them, and you find out those 10 people, I don't even like them. But these guys are like, I'm going to spend my time on these three and I'm going to walk them across the border. That's kind of how I think about it. We're walking them across the border. They're going to get their sanctuary with eXp, right? Dude, I got to tell you, like, I am jacked up. You know, one thing I'm noticing is I'm calling more and more agents myself personally, and everyone's picking up the call. Why do you think that is? Why do you think everyone's picking up the call right now, and they weren't picking up my call a couple of years ago? Well, the copycats that tried to copycat didn't cat up, right? They didn't cat up. They pretended a game, but they couldn't finish. Transactions are down for a lot of people, and people are looking for hope. And they're looking to latch themselves onto something that's working. And we're the only model that can prove that's working. If you're not a publicly traded company, you can say anything you want to, right? Like I have no problem. I'm not a political guy. I got no problem calling out people, but I got LPT in my backyard. They every day they say their number one is something, and I was like, hey, how is that? Show me. Well. That's what my office told me. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Number one real estate company in the world. Let me ask you a question. Does anybody actually, what the heck? My wife actually has a tattoo right here on her arm. Anybody know what that is for some bonus points with me? Anybody know what it says on my wife's arm right here on her arm? Nardo, you know what it says on my wife's arm. What is it? Somebody tell me. Rebecca, you know what does it say on my wife's arm?
Gil Ramos.
Does not. It's 3 letters. The most powerful 3 letters, 2 words, 3 letters, the most powerful 3 letters, 2 words on the planet.
I am.
That's it. Somebody was just about to guess that. I know. I am. No, that would be 4. I am. And I'm going to ask you to kind of just put your hand up like this right now. Everybody's kind of go in there. And I am, right? I am. I am a person with 1,000 people in my organization, 10,000 people in my organization. If you put your arm and you create that, that's your freaking move for agent attraction. I am an agent attractor. Just look out of the way. You guys decide that this is who you are. Not when you think that you like this would be cool to do, it would be awesome to have and stuff like that. When this becomes your identity, let me tell you what happens. Your YouTube algorithm changes because you're listening to the stars. You want to know what other agent attractors are doing. Your podcast change, your schedule change. Nah, some of you guys are just playing. Some of you guys are just logging in at 9 o'clock saying, I wonder what the hell Gil's going to say. But I hope you're logging in here is like, I need some stuff right now because I got 3 days to finish this quarter. And I got to wrap some stuff up and get my quarter set up for next quarter. What are your goals right now? Who are you? What do you do? So we got a really cool thing, and I want to share with you guys something that eXp is coming through. We kind of touched on it. If open up some mics and make sure everyone's clear on it, that I truly, truly believe eXp wave back in, I don't know, was it like 2020, 21, 22, 2019, somewhere in that range. And we just kind of just grew right through COVID. And then we kind of plateaued out. And we've all kind of been waiting for that next wave to come in and just typhoon energy into the, and it's happening right now. It's already kind of dribbling in. Low
Gil, I
tide
think,
came to high.
Gil, I think we're gonna
Huh?
have to compress this meeting because it seems like we have it linked up to the account. So it's going to end in like 7 minutes. So you gotta probably wrap it up. And we
Can
have
you
to
no? Can we just restart it again?
Yeah, yeah, that happens to me.
So if we get blown out, just log back in, guys. We'll just keep going from there. Okay. Would that
All
work,
right.
Vince?
Yeah, I think Franny got that right. I think we're good.
All right. So check it out. Co-sponsoring. Maybe you've heard some rumors about it. Maybe you kind of already know it, and that's cool and all. But I want you guys to know sponsoring was designed for the agent that doesn't have 1,000 people in their organization. And you might think that might be what co-sponsoring is about, but actually it's not. The company's always been missing the one thing that I thought was how do we activate the masses? How do we make it so easy for anyone to agent attract? And it's leverage. And that's what co-sponsoring allows us to do. It allows us to leverage people in different markets, leverage people who have tools that are attractive to the agent's needs that we're attracting, and allows us to basically two are better than one without dividing the revenue share, right? Without taking and say, all right, here's a little piece for you, here's a little piece from you. And it's that crazy splitting of a commission, basically, right? Co-sponsoring allows us to be able to attract people in a much wider net than we ever had. I got to tell you, I'm giddy about co-sponsoring, right? If you guys haven't got into co-sponsoring, really understood on how that can level up your business, this is where we go from 80, 90,000 agents that we've got right now to 200. This is the next wave. I felt this wave happening right there when just before Vince joined in and a few other people came into the company when we were like 18, 19,000 agents, 20,000 agents. And then all of a sudden, boom. Get your paddle boards out. The wave is coming. So what is co-sponsoring? Anybody, Vince, you want to kind of give us a definition of co-sponsoring? Like, how do you see co-sponsoring? And I think everyone had their little, because co-sponsoring is a little bit different for everyone, but the results are all growth.
I see it as a merging of communities, like and that is not connected at eXp, we can now connect and we have access to all the resources we thought have access to before, right? If there was ever a thought like, oh, I wish I was over there, or I wish I could partner with this person, now you can. All you have to do is go out there and co-sponsor, and it doesn't reduce the amount that you get. It actually adds to what you receive. Okay, you get access, and you're able to, a lot of the team leaders that are taking in team members from other lines, we could now merge everybody together. Okay, so I see it as access, and I see it as a way for us to open up endless opportunities.
What's your view on co-sponsoring? I'd love to hear it. Like, mine's a little different. I feel like there's a fairness. I lost recruits over the years. I actually had one person specifically didn't actually ever join the eXp because they were so torn between two people, a friend and another friend. I've had one where it was a mom, and I was like, dude, just your mom. Like, don't, okay, it's not a big deal. And for your Eddie, like the reality is like it allows people. You can choose your friend and choose your mentor at the same time. You can choose somebody local and choose somebody that you want to honor, right? Somebody who brought open up a net for you guys. And by the way, there are people right now sitting on the sidelines that like, man, I can't get this person right now. Like, I don't have the numbers. It's like baloney story. There's always somebody who can help you now, who has a to help you. Nothing to do with your organization right now. There's somebody there who is local to that person, or has a tool that that person is going to appreciate, is going to go after it. What are your thoughts, Rebecca? What are your Eli? What are your thoughts about co-sponsoring? And what are your questions, by the way? Because I feel like it's still
We have a
muddy in the water.
question from Maria. Is this for new agents only or existing agent sponsor?
So co-sponsor, as we're recruiting agents now today, we're not backdating people, and switching lines around or something like that. But as we're recruiting agents right now, if there's a need to bring a co-sponsor in because that's going to be an extra value for that agent, it's available. It will be officially available April 1st.
To jump in. So I was thinking along the same lines of what you just said, is that agents today know someone in eXp already, or maybe they're following an influencer and really want to join that influencer because they're offering high value, and they also know you, and because they can't make a decision because both are great options. And so this opens up options for them to be able to unite and be a part of both of those lines. And so this, again, just options for the agent, what's best. And as they're looking at their best interest, thinking, I want to maybe, geek out with tech and YouTube, and maybe they want to connect with Mike Sherrard. You're like, man, I can't even compete with Mike Sherrard, but I'm here in your local market, and I'm to be there for you as a running partner. And they see that. And so again, just options. They can be connected, and this unites our organizations as well. So I see it as a plus. Also, within the Hispanic community, a lot of people know C5, and they know us here at Global Alliance, that we have a lot of Latino leaders as well, and they want to be part of both of those worlds. And
that was a 6-month process. That's really kind of frowned out. And probably not necessary at all right now, because you can partner with whoever you want. So I think that's changing to 1 year. I don't think that's official yet, but that's going to be changing because that's no longer a reason, right? You can partner with whoever you want to.
Right.
Who else got a question, concern, thought? How are you using co-sponsoring? I'd love to hear that too. Go ahead.
I'll speak on that real quick.
Go ahead.
So after Cabo, man, it was a great event, and I had the realization, right? Like going into it, you have to have massive intention with networking and connecting with people. So that's really what I had my heart on, and I did that, and I connected with a lot of agents and talked about co-sponsorship opportunities based off of our platform of YouTube and AI. And I have 3 aligned so far. And really, what was the nexus for that was that mastermind we had in the lobby of Cabo with Sue and Ken and Kevin and everybody. So I look forward to all of that, being on stage, being in front of agents, pouring value.
So tell me more about those calls that you've made since you came back from Cabo. I'm sure that wasn't like a process you were doing all the time, but like, what did those sound like? How were they received? Talk to me about that.
So ultimately, no calls, right? It's really in-person engagement. I did an open house this weekend, and I had 2 engagements that were really positive. I invited, right? I showed valued. It basically showing numbers, right? Like before I really wasn't intentional with this, right? Because it was really a self-belief issue of validation, right? There was no validation of, okay, no production, okay, no following, right? So now that we have that, for me
Mm.
personally, that's a belief, that's a pillar for me to stand on and be like, hey, this is possible nationwide. Why are you not aligning with us and doing this right now with your business? Why are you suffering when you could be thriving? You know, so that's the value add.
I love how you mentioned that. So this basically allows you to have a certainty and security that eliminated the I'm not the biggest shot. Like I don't have to be that person. I don't have to be the person
Exactly.
who's already in stages, right? I'm going to earn my way in there. Like that's awesome. I love to hear that empowerment in your voice, and can't wait to see the results you get in these next 90 days. Who else has got a thought
Absolutely.
on co-sponsoring? How are you going to use that to help you generate more business
I
in
have
your rev show?
I have
Jump in.
another idea. So with the co-sponsor, so like Victor mentioned networking, which I think is wonderful. And when you start networking in certain groups, you begin to meet people that are in different markets, right? So nationwide. And by meeting those nationwide people, sometimes the concern is, yeah, but you're not here. And so this opens up an opportunity that if I'm talking to someone who's in another market and they still want to come with me because they're interested, but I can connect them with someone in their local market as well, so that they have community and so that they have more survivorship, like retention, because they are not left alone. Sometimes when people are alone in their market, it's not always easy. Some people love it, and others are like, I need to go into an office. I need to see a face. I need somebody that I can, see here locally, and that's okay. We have options for them, and also it has reactivated some people that I had already been speaking to for that same reason, right? Because when you know people who are in other markets, that's always a concern. And so now we can, because we have that option, I've been able to go back to some people who probably had some reservations, and now they're more willing to entertain the thought because they're like, oh, shoot, this could actually work now.
Yeah.
Uh,
Your
can I add some?
underlying thought in there was access, having access to everyone else's tools, not feeling like, oh man, I wish I had that. You have access. It's the most powerful thing we have with our leverage. Go ahead.
So great for people that are that know of other EXP agents with offices that run teams. Like now you could place people into those offices and have connection and access into it, right? So we've got a brokerage office, so we allow anybody in, but there's some team offices out there that say, hey, if you're not on our team or if you're not in our downline, then you can't come into this office. Now you could set it up so that you could give them access and almost give yourself access because now you're partnering with that primary sponsor. It also gives
Yeah.
people access to us at the Global Alliance,
I
right?
got to tell you, I'm feeling a little selfish because like the reality is like everybody's thinking of co-sponsoring as what you're giving to somebody else. But secretly, I also want their tools. I also want to have a reason to partner with people. I also want to have a reason to collaborate. I also want to be able to say, "Hey, man, what's working for you?" Like you're like, I'm going to be in some of these Zooms with these people. Like, listen, like I'd love to be able to work with everybody, and not like that's the problem with our industry. When my father was working at Remax, and they had him on the second, when all the top players on the second floor, you couldn't learn from those guys, right? Here, everyone's got a playbook, and they have a vested interest to see you to be great. And I'm so excited about co-sponsoring. It will be the thing that allows us to grow exponentially.
Question, if it's as long as we're not financially connected, we're able to co-sponsor. Am I correct?
So, in other words, as long as they're not in your 7 levels.
As long as they're not in your 7 levels. So even if we're connected up on top, right? So
Correct.
us cousins, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Uh, uh, us cousins, we could now connect, right?
Yes.
Even though we have the same upline, we could now start attracting together. So I really think this is fantastic, and it was a genius move by leadership.
I don't think we've had anything as exciting as co-sponsoring in years. Well, I can tell you that there were things like Fast Camp that I'm super excited about, like the eXp toolkit. All the toolkits are freaking amazing. I was on On a side note, I was on a mastermind a couple days ago, and they were talking about expireds and combining the luxury division with expired for a differentiation in the marketplace. And I was like, dude, that's incredible. That's like what a great idea. It's like, hey, I know your house didn't sell. They treat your property like it was they were marketing in the dollar store. Of course, your house didn't sell. Let me show you what we can do. And within 5 seconds, create a whole folder to show them what we can do. Like that's a game changer. If you don't, by the way, and that might be somebody you want to co-sponsor with, like co-sponsor with the luxury agent, right? And then go out there and find people that are actual cappers and icons in the marketplace and use those tools together. Man, it unbelievably unlocks you. Like you, by the way, I'm going to tell you one of the mistakes a lot of you guys be making. Your goals are too small. Your goals are too small because you don't understand the opportunity. The opportunity for you guys to grow is not onesies and twosies. It may not even be tensies. Like it might be hundreds and thousands of people that you can grow with if you keep the energy right for this next 93 days, including these 3 days we got left in this quarter and the next 90 days. Like whatever your goals right now, challenge yourself and say, is that the goal of somebody who has the I am an agent attractor, or is that a guy who's just pretending, or is it somebody who's like, I'd love to be able to do this? If this becomes your identity, shoot up your goals and watch out because the universe is coming to help you. Who else wants to chime in? We got about 13 more minutes in here. I just want to make sure that if you've got a question about co-sponsoring, that we get them out there.
You know, Gil, you mentioned goals being too small, and I have seen agents, and of course, we all have our journey, right? But I've seen agents who are only concerned with recruiting maybe to their team, and they don't want to recruit anything outside of that. And I feel like if we could help open up their minds that it doesn't have to be in their team, and the value is in the group, right? And now more than ever, we have the live startup agent to help them on board, and we have fast cap. So like you don't personally have to train them. They can tap into our Gap mastermind calls, and if they're local, they can come into one of our meetings. That you don't have to feel that you're carrying the weight of like responsible for that agent. And so don't just limit yourself to recruiting to your team or vice versa. Just, they think they have to have a team, right? Don't feel that way. Just what is the goal of that person? Speak to people. What is their goal? And let's help them match their goal with eXp. Let's connect them with a partner here in our alliance to help solve a problem for them, to help their business grow.
All right. Anybody else want to chime in? Maybe you've got a question, concern, thought. I'd love to hear, one of your wins. If you've got somebody you've just recently recruited, I'd love to hear about that too. Because we can learn through each other, right? That's the purpose of a mastermind. It's kind of like, hey, what's working for you? What I can tell you what's working for me. I just been intentional about making phone calls. I built my list and I said, hey, I'm going to call 10 people today. And people are answering the phone. And it will shock you and by the way, let me teach you guys a little trick, especially with your warm market. Some people are like, oh man, and maybe you're this person, you're like, man, I made a list, but I actually don't want to call it. And the reason why you don't want to call it is because you feel like you're doing something to somebody, you're selling somebody something. First off, your mentality is, I'm going to help this agent prosper. I'm going to invite them to something that might change their life. I'm excited to have this conversation with them. But before I can do any of that, I need to find out where they're at and where they want to be, right? Before I start telling them about eXp, it's like, I'm just going to connect to the last place where I remember a great moment with that person. And it could be just as simple as, dude, remember it's like, do you remember 6 years ago, we were at that NAREP event and we went to a bowling alley and like and it was just a shit show. And like the lanes didn't work. I was actually driving by then. I was thinking about that and I was laughing. And I just thought about you. And I figured I'd just give you a call, man. Like, how's it going? You bring somebody and you connect them back to that last spot. What's that?
That was a real thing. Were you there? We had a bowling event like 7 years ago.
So you just bring them back to that event or that idea or even that deal. Dude, do you remember that deal we did over in Flushing? That shit was like, I drove past that house and I was like, I don't know how we got that deal closed. I was just thinking about you. I figured I'd give you a call, man. How's it going? How's business for you? How's the first 90 days been treating you? And just allow a conversation that it's such an easy script. connect to the last spot that you had, right? I love the concept of like the last deal you do, like or deal you did with somebody, especially if it's been a while. Dude, I was driving by that nightmare deal that we did, and I was like, I don't know how we did that deal. To be very frank, do you remember what the inspector did? I was like, dude, anyone was driving that across that property, and I just couldn't help myself. I just started to laugh, and I just figured I'd give you a call. Man, how's the first 90 days treating you? Could you make those calls today? Could you work your list today? This is Freedom Friday. Like that's the point of us doing this event here on Monday mornings, right? So we can get our mindset in the mindset of I am an agent attractor. I am going to do what agent attractors do.
Gil, you had something in your, I don't know, one of your documents that I had picked up. It was like green light, Facebook green light something. And I didn't understand that at first. And I was like, oh, I get it. So anyone who is
Oh yeah,
active on Facebook, you message them. So what do
yeah,
you message? Look on their page real quick. What have they posted recently? Comment, but comment privately to them, directly to them. And you'll be surprised the conversation that you'll get started just from, engaging with whatever they just posted on Facebook. One of the
yeah,
easiest ways to open up a conversation.
yeah. It's a green light strategy. The green light's there for you to talk to them. They're online, and I was like, and one of my favorite things, especially with agents, is just compliment them on something to do. Dude, I love your videos you're doing at such and such, right? I was like, what inspired you to do that? And just let them go. And then if it gets too long with text, man, I just press the little button right next to the text message, which is a phone call. Bing! Hey, man, I hate texting, dude. I'm a slow texter. What's been going on? How's the first 90 days been treating you? Yeah, 3 days left. Like that, and it's just a natural way for me to connect with somebody. Like bring the conversation. Your goal should always be to bring the conversation to one stage higher, right? If you're emailing, you want to text. If you're texting, you want to get a call. If you're calling, you want to get to a eyeball to eyeball appointment with somebody. Like that's the game. How can I elevate this conversation farther to something more intimate where we can actually talk about real stuff? I love a coffee appointment. Who else? We got a few minutes left. We got 6 minutes left on the clock. Who else wants to chime in? What's been on your heart? You want to talk about? Like, what do you, if you're struggling, if you're like, hey, Gil, you know what? I'm not here. Like this sounds great, but I'm not there. Like let's talk to you.
I think what was put into the chat, the access to the Global Alliance University and the recording for these calls, it's very important, right? Because we have thousands in our organization and we have a couple of dozen here on the call. Okay. And this thing is powerful because of the duplication that can happen. And the duplication doesn't happen if we don't have access to all the good stuff, right? We had Susan McLean last week, and she was amazing, and she gave us such amazing tools. But if we only had 30 people on the call, everybody else missed out on it. So take those recordings and share it with your coworkers.
Are we putting those calls in Global Alliance University?
Yep.
Mhm.
Good stuff. Didn't even know that. Thank you for sharing. Good stuff. Who else wants to jump in? Do you know how you're doing? What do you got going on your last 3 days of the month? 3 days left. How many people are you going to bring in the last 3 days?
I had a good feeling. I had a good feeling.
Oh, you
Gil
had
was
a good
gonna.
feeling I was going to call on you?
I saw Rebecca smirking. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be no, but this is an exciting opportunity. I've actually sat down with Maria and a couple of our agents here. And actually last Friday we decided to just get together a group of eXp agents here in Wisconsin. There's been a lot of move in Wisconsin, like as far as like agents leaving eXp and things of that nature. People going to Rio, people going to LPT, people going to ROA and all these new things, right? And we decided to kind of get together on Friday, last week Friday, and actually Thursday, and then the following Friday we decided to just do a quick Zoom and just mastermind on stuff on RevShare, right? Like agent attraction, what's coming up, and the purpose of it, in my eyes, is I would like to get in proximity with other eXp agents that I know are doing good things, that are crushing it in our market, that are naturally attracting agents and find out how I can collaborate with them on the next level, right? Which is, the co-sponsorship opportunity. And I had an agent that she dropped she mentioned that she had an agent that broker owner that, her mom is the broker and she obviously loves eXp and she wants to, have, bring their whole brokerage over and she just doesn't know how to start that conversation. So that's when she's nowhere in my organization, nowhere in my downline. And that was kind of like my hook in to say, I can help you get on this call. I can help you close this broker. I can be the co-sponsor or vice versa, and we can kind of work together and collaborate to bring value to this broker owner. So I'm being a little bit more intentional on how I communicate and I collaborate with other eXp agents with that mission in mind of co-sponsorship. What does that look like when us partnering together, you being part of a global alliance, and just masterminding on that level and kind of just refreshing, re-energizing the energy here in Wisconsin for eXp, and just bringing something new because obviously, we see a lot of agents leave. A lot of these agents that have left in our market is because of, oh, I joined the wrong sponsor or, I did this. A lot of them don't even know that the co-sponsorship opportunity is coming up. So, yeah, that's kind of, something that I've been in the works of doing. And I know, we've been working with Maria in Kenosha, Wisconsin as well. So I'm excited. I'm pumped up for this. This is
Let me tell you, Gino, withstand that wave. Some states already hit that wave, right? You're in the wave right now. The wave passes, and then everybody comes back in, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I want to share with somebody, you guys, real fast before we get out of here, something that's in the eXp agent attraction toolbox. And we talk about the list all the time, and I just want to give you a place to actually put your list inside the eXp agent attraction. Just press that button I put in the chat box. This is where you would put your list, right? Agent, first name, last name, email, what their deal count is, and what's your commitment to contact them. This is your roadmap for the next 90 days. For the next 90 days, I want you to put everybody that you're going to recruit. You're going to build your list here. If you need to transfer your list here, transfer your list here. If you got a great CRM, then that's great. Use your CRM, right? But you need to have there. And if you don't have a list, right here, you're going to see a memory jogger. And there's a couple in here like, who have you closed deals with? Like, oh, Bobby, Susan, Jill, blah, 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 blah. Let's put a list there. People that you worked with the previous token. Okay, Juan, Jose, Maria, blah, blah, blah. I met at an event. Oh, I got these cards sitting on my desk. Here's these 4 cards. I'm going to put them on my list here. Agents in my other office. I love this one. Agents I'm scared to call, right? Like, fill that list out. If you go through and you start going in there, now there's some here at the bottom, which I think these are actually the best ones, to be honest with you. Like your hairstylist. And it's not because your hairstylist is a real estate agent. You call your hairstylist and like, hey, listen, just out of curiosity, who are the top 3 agents you do business with? Could you connect me with them? Tell me about them. Like I'm looking to build my organization. Who are the top 3 agents that you're connected with? Right? Your past clients know other agents. You're not the only one. Your neighbor knows agents. Your accountant, your lawyer, doctor, family friend. Find out people that know people. The truth of the matter is like you could build your 100 list today. That's what Fridays are for. They're not for fucking Netflix. They're not for like whatever you thought like you were going to do tonight. Tonight, unplug your cable or unplug your internet and just work your list. Your future legacy will thank you. It's 9:45. I appreciate all you guys being on this call. Build your list and build your freedom. If you need any help, there's a lot of people on this call who'd be happy to help you, including myself. All right, guys. I'll see you soon.
Thanks, everyone.